Hello, Pisces. All right, here we go. This is a message for Pisces. What is the message that is most important for Pisces to hear right now? What is the message most important for Pisces to hear right now? What wants to come through for Pisces? So far, we have the Eight of Pentacles and the Five of Swords. Okay, for Pisces. What wants to come through for Pisces right now? What's important for Pisces right now? What's important for Pisces right now? I have to go and grab that card that flew out. Let's see. Okay, for Pisces. For Pisces. Okay, Pisces, let's get into it. We have the Eight of Pentacles, the Five of Swords, the King of Pentacles, and the Ace of Cups. You know, it's funny because I really have been feeling your energy, Pisces, as really kind of being like in work mode, and building something for yourself. I've been feeling like this real drive to really build something for yourself, like building, creating, you know, kind of like this whole idea of taking like raw materials and turning it into something else, right? Taking, you know, raw energy and using it to you know, create something else. It's a really great energy. I do kind of feel it a little bit as also highly focused, highly dedicated, highly driven. And really, if it is the King of Pentacles that you are trying to achieve, then, you know, this is the right energy that you need to be in, right? Because this is exactly how the King of Pentacles got here. He got here through this hard work, this dedication, this focus, this drive, you know, and just like really putting in the effort, the work, in order to arrive into this position of now being able to kind of like take it easy. You know, the King of Pentacles, like he built all of his abundance from the ground up, you know. This is such an earthy vibe here. It's almost like the vines on his gown, the grapes and the vines on his gown are kind of almost repeated in the garden, and it's like it's growing up onto his robe, and it's like it kind of makes him like one with the earth, you know. So he's put his time into this garden, and it's, you know, to the point where it kind of consumed him a little bit. He put his time into creating this abundance, and yeah, and it did kind of consume him a little bit. And so, you know, so which is very interesting, right? Because it is also coming in here with the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is kind of like my ego card, you know. It's kind of, it really tells me, you know, the story behind this card is kind of like winning at all costs, right? Like you have somebody in the background here. He's, you know, he's crying, or his head is down. This guy's walking away. He's defeated. So they're both feeling really, you know, kind of like low, defeated. And then you have this guy in the forefront, and he's kind of got a little smirk on his face, and he's like holding all of these swords. He's got all of these swords. And it kind of gives me the impression of like not necessarily like an honorable battle, you know. It's kind of giving me the vibes of like, one, you know, being better than these other people, because obviously he's like the winner of whatever this battle was. He was able to take away their swords from them. But it's almost like also this feeling of so he he won, obviously, right? Like cuz he was better. But then there's also almost like this energy of like rubbing it in their face kind of. um and you know how sometimes when you are like kind of in competition with somebody and you go up against them and um you just blow them out of the water. You're just like, you're so good. There's no competition really. You just blow them out of the water. And of course, you don't want to dim yourself. Like if this is your skill, this is your skill, right? Like you're not going to like slow yourself down and so somebody behind you can feel like, they were close. Like no, you go out there and you display your skill. You worked hard at it. You've earned it. But neither do you turn around and like rub it in their face, right? It's kind of like the same idea of like, at football games, like high school football games, if somebody makes a touchdown, like you can't be too um, in their face celebratory, like you can't be too much of like, I don't know. You gotta display some humility. That's kind of what I'm getting at, okay? So with this energy, right? And these three energies really combined, right? You're working at something, you're building a skill, you're highly focused, you're highly determined, and you get really, really good at whatever this is, but you don't use it or you almost misuse it, right? Like you kind of you lose the humility in it because you've gotten so good at it. You've gotten so good and so advanced and just really at the top of your game at something, but like the message is like don't lose your humility, like stay humble. Don't get too carried away with where you're going, or like your skills, or like remain humble, because I do feel like what happens is, if you are working, and you're really getting good at something, you're maybe gaining a lot of finances, you're gaining a lot of accolade, um, you're gaining a lot of skill, but you get consumed by it, right? Like the King of Pentacles here is almost, I got this feeling of him being consumed by the garden. Like the garden is like, growing over him almost. That can lead you to a place of being really stuck, and you can be like in this garden of abundance. You can be in this garden of abundance with all your abundance, right? All of your skill, all of your accolade, all of your accomplishment, all of your dedication, your hard work, but then you could still just be alone, right? So if that's all you need and you're completely satisfied with that and you don't feel the necessity to remain humble, then fine. Then you can be there alone by yourself and with all of your accolades. But, I really do feel like if you know, ultimately those things, all of that skill, all of that development, all of those accolades, all of that wealth, richness, like those things really ultimately are going to mean nothing if you don't have love, right? You are going to still feel empty, still feel unaccomplished or whatever if you don't have love, okay? So this is a message, Pisces, for you to, one, be proud of yourself for sure, because you've been putting in the hard work. You've been really like, you've been at it. You've been focused, you've been disciplined, you've been working on something, and you really need to be proud of that, absolutely, because great job. Job well done. And you have built like this path for you to really arrive in this place of like real abundance, you know. But don't lose yourself along the way. That's the message, you know. Don't lose yourself along the way. Don't lose the reasons why you started doing these things in the first place. Because if you do, and the focus of building wealth becomes all consuming, what's going to happen is that you're just going to really end up finding yourself lonely and unfulfilled, because you've like neglected or disregarded the one true thing that is of the utmost importance, regardless of how much wealth you build, and that is love, right? You do not want to put all of this energy and effort into building something and then ultimately discover that you've really not put your focus on the things that really matter, which is again love, right? And you can look at love in all kinds of different ways. To me, love is the energy of the highest essence of our being. That is to me what love is. Like if we look at life force energy and the thing that animates all things, like I feel like that's love. Okay. But this could be also like self-love. This could be love for family, you know, love for life, love for charity, love for peace, you know. Love is compassion, it's kindness, it's forgiveness, it's empathy, it's all of those things, right? It encompasses all of those things. And so and these are the things really that are going to bring real value, or at least a feeling of real value in your life. Without these things, you will be lonely, you will be lost, you will be isolated. And so this is just a reminder that as you work your way into this greatness that you're clearly moving into, don't lose yourself along the way, and like continue to remind yourself of the things that are important to you, because you can have both. Absolutely, you can have, you know, the wealth, the riches, you know, the dedication and all of that, but also have, you know, love in your heart, love for others, love for yourself, compassion, understanding, all of those things. Okay. I'm just saying that if you get too focused on building riches, and winning, and you know, if you get too consumed by the ego and you're just leading with the ego, then you're really not winning. You're really just you know, creating an emptiness. Okay. All right, Pisces, this is the message for you for December. Let me know what you think. Okay, like what is it that you're working on? What is it that you know, do you feel like sometimes you get so consumed with your work that you lose yourself a little bit, and then you kind of have to refine yourself back in these energies of love? Or, you know, tell me what that's about. I'd like to know. Alrighty, love you lots. Bye bye.